Welcome back to Different Gravy, not just another Sheffield Wednesday podcast. We are on part 3, the third and final part of our season review, looking exhaustively and exhaustingly at every single player to have kicked a ball in anger during this season for Sheffield Wednesday. So we're putting 2021, 2022 in the rearview mirror in some style. We're on our last batch of 11 players. How are you feeling, Luke?
Good. I just want to inject, Rich, that also just to tell the listeners, we also will cover players who kick the ball with other emotions apart from anger.
Yes. Ambivalence. Fear. Merriment.
Smugness.
Incredulity. Some of them just couldn't believe that it was happening. Mainly the little kids that play at half-time, but still. And are we going to round off the cherry on top? At the end of this episode, we'll also give a grade to Mr. Moore.
Indeed, we will. Yes.
And we'll get a full, beautiful picture of Luke's pedestal. The Mount Rushmore of getting a bit better during his football season that Luke has been hiding next to his bosom for these last 2 episodes. We'll get that full picture. So first off, in this third and final segment, your number 41, Nathaniel Mendes-Lane.
Said with such beautiful, delicious conviction by Rich. He was a player. Interestingly, we did have a mark for him at the half-time point because he was just about getting started at that point, right? So that was interesting.
Yeah, he'd been sort of hiding, sort of skulking around the training ground like a sort of creepy ghost since the season started, and then eventually we kind of half-heartedly decided to throw a contract at him, which apparently at one point was genuinely for about 14 days. We seemed to like he played, he looked all right, and then they're like, "Oh, do you know what? His contract's finishing tomorrow." So goodness knows what was going on there. That's really non-committal, even for Wednesday, famous for their lack of commitment to and faith in players. Well, so what did we give him at the halfway mark?
He got a whopping C+.
A whopping C+.
And I think he had a couple of nice cameos at the time back then. I think we still thought the same kind of overall now.
Yeah.
Since then, I think since we did that, I think it was around January, we had there was at least one absolutely blistering performance from him. I do recall that was kind of around the hilariously
when he scored, he perfected the Harris, didn't he? And I can't quite remember when that happened now.
He did indeed perfect the Harris, as I think we said on a previous occasion. But again, that kind of performance and the other stuff, it's all kind of really a bit minimal. I'm wondering... I made a funny note saying that maybe upgrades him to a C, but actually that's now a downgrade in terms of his ranking. Maybe do we? I think maybe I'm going to be generous and give him a B-. I think.
Okay.
It's close though. It cocould still be a C+, maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting. So in terms of the two, so which I'm now struck. I don't know which game it was where he did complete or he perfected the Harris, but he scored in the 4-2 win at home against Plymouth, and also in the 2-0 win at home against Morecambe. But I think it must have been the Plymouth one where he scored that particular goal. But I think the tricky thing for him has been, particularly since he started to find a bit of form, then got injured, and by the time he came back from that injury, we had quite a settled back 8 or 9. By the time he was sort of trying to squeeze his way back in, that's where we'd got the three at the back sorted. Johnson had made left wing back his own. Hunt had made right wing back his own, and we had the three in midfield: the Bannon, Byers, and Luongo, and then up top it was Gregory and somebody. And so that really only left. It either meant we were harming ourselves by taking out Johnson or Hunt, and it tended to be Hunt, or we were kind of playing him massively out of position by playing him up top with Gregory, which had some positive benefits to it, but never felt like it truly was comfortable for him or the team. And I think, unfortunately for him, his best position is left wing back, but he's not the best left wing back in the club. So it leaves him in a bit of a tricky position. And looking forward to next season, he's another person whose contract is up. Looking forward to next season, he's sort of like, well, do you want him as a squad player, a guy to have around? I never really liked him at right wing back. I don't think it ever worked particularly well. I don't think he's not a great crosser of the ball. It's more about causing chaos. And I think the chaos of cutting in on his right and playing with the dual threat of I could pass this ball or I could shoot works best for him. And he loses that on the right-hand side because it's just like, well, just push him, just keep him on his right foot and he won't be able to really produce a cross very well because he's not very good at that. He's harder to defend on the left because he's a bit more unpredictable. But as we've touched on, Marvin Johnson is really, really good there, really good at crossing. And I wouldn't want to drop him for Mendes Lang. I don't think that's a sensible thing to do. So B minus feels fair. I wouldn't be upset if we sign him up for another year.
But I think almost on the edge. I'm not really upset if he's gone. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know.
Next up, another favorite son of Different Gravy. We love him as if we'd produced him from our own loins, Luke. It's number 2, Liam Palmer.
Oh, good stuff. Liam Palmer. I gave him an A- at the halfway mark. I think I might have slowly over-egged him at that point, but I definitely think he's shone a lot for his dependability and adaptability during a period where I've definitely underserved the defensive ranks. I want to say,
yes.
That recruitment and what kind of happened was scandalous, and I really hope we don't have to see that again from a Wednesday perspective, knowing that we've got into the season with the focus that we have in this, back 3 turning to back 5. I'm not entirely sure what we've done without Liam Palmer this season. Just incredibly dependable, seemingly always fit, more than competence level. I'm really happy he's here for at least another year. I'm not sure if at that back 3 there is an automatic first name on the team sheet for the Worksop Express.
No.
But it's definitely a squad and he can fill in, and very competently, I must say.
Yeah.
But I'm also more than happy if he does have part in the more settled defence. Maybe the 2022-23 season has a space for a free partnership with Liam in it if we can get the right personnel around him to stay fit.
It's a good call. Yeah.
Obviously, he's done pretty well in the right wing-back berth as well, including becoming a roving goal threat now. So he's adding dimensions to his game at his age, which is really incredible. I think he's unfortunately missed out a few more times for having more natural players in his position, but he's done excellently considering him and the situation around him. I'm still going to settle for an A- overall for Liam Palmer.
That's a nice spot to end up. Yeah, I think overall that's fair. Obviously, he's another one that, depending on where you apportion blame, he probably should have done better with the last goal that we conceded this season in the playoff.
But obviously, there was a caveat that he wasn't prepared enough for that situation.
Cold in the middle of
yeah.
No, I think it's been. I mean, it's incredible how versatile he is and how well he plays in all those different positions, because he's also played left wing back at times and not looked terrible there either. So he's pretty much covered every position across that back 5 and always done it with a level of competence and confidence. Yeah, I'm glad we've got another year at least of Liam Palmer, and I can't help but be proud of the young man he's flourished into. Yeah, well done again, Liam. We look forward to another another year of, as you say, the Worksop Express doing his thing.
I mean, it's like Rich and I are both fathers, and we're there at his graduation every year. So expect a creepy and awkward picture with Rich and I putting our hands on his shoulders.
And we're nudists. That's just the extra little detail to add to the creepiness. We're a couple of nudists, and we insist on pressing our rights at the graduation. Number 13 is unlucky for some. Has it been unlucky for Callum Paterson?
Callum Thomas Owen Paterson. Can you guess what we gave him at the midway mark, actually, here, Rich? So this is just to bring this element back in. I don't know how surprising it is, but I think maybe it also tells a little story as well. Yeah.
This is difficult. So again, I'm thinking around that time, I think it was probably kind of December time that we beat Wigan. Might be wrong in that. Which was a shining moment for him. It really looked like he kind of turned the corner. So I think it would have been quite positive. I'm going to say B minus. B minus.
I went for a B plus at the midway mark.
B plus, okay.
And I wonder if that was a decent mark considering he had a much stronger first half of the season than he did the second half of the season.
Yeah.
The general dilemma with seeing where he can apply his traits in a team that has players with defined roles is the biggest one, though. The greatest sin that Callum Thomas Owen Paterson could commit was not being Stephen Fletcher. That was the sins of his past, but unfortunately it still lives on in the third tier. A level he should be performing better in. A charming misfit, but what do we do with a repeat offender? How do we rehabilitate the sinner? Fortunately for him, and unfortunately for us, we have another year to figure it out. C+.
Yeah, that's the bit of news we've had this week, isn't it? Is that not this week by the time you listen to this, but we know that Callum Paterson's going to be with us for another season. Seems to have triggered some sort of clause. Possibly reading between the lines, maybe not the club's first choice to have another year of Callum Paterson, but he's got the ability within that contract to take up another year, and he's asserted that right, which is fair enough. Yeah, it's interesting. He's had a real hodgepodge of a season. I was wrong. That Wigan game was back in September, so I was wrong that was in September. So
surprised it was that far back.
Yeah, he scored against Wigan. He scored in the loss to Oxford. That was 2nd of October. He then didn't score again until the 19th of February. So he had pretty much the whole of October, November, December, January, and a good old chunk of Feb without scoring. To go 5 months of the season without scoring as a person who primarily plays as a striker is pretty shocking.
Yeah.
But then he went on a bit of a purple patch. He scored 3 matches running against Donny, Charlton, and Burn. He then scored. He scored against Accrington in the 1-1 draw at Hillsborough. And then that was it. That was his goal scoring for the season up on the 15th of March. So again, he's had another couple of months off scoring, like a bad addict trying to give up goals. He binges and then gives up for months at a time.
I guess he must have given up goal scoring for Lent. I guess to keep that Christian thing going. Yeah. Oh
dear. So where do we end up score-wise for Paterson?
I gave Paterson a C+.
I think that's fair. It's harsh but fair. You have to be. We're cruel to the ones we love because we know that they're capable of better. With Paterson, it's just this should have been a 10, 12, 15 goal season.
Definitely, I definitely think 12 goals.
Yeah.
And probably a bit more consistent and maybe kind of mucked in with a bit more up top as well, I'd probably say.
It's pretty shocking to have played in 40 games, 40 league games, plus another 5 cup games, and he's only got 6 goals out of 45 games is terrible.
Spade.
A really bad goal return. Next up, we've got our number one. Number one with a bullet is Bailey Peacock Farrell. the glint in his mother's eye, the stir in his father's pants, young Bailey, carrying forth the bloodline of the Peacock Farrells, the brave, proud bloodline of the Peacock Farrells.
What did you think we gave Peacock Farrell at the halfway mark?
Ooh. I think we've always been pretty pro Bailey.
Pro Bailey.
We've always been pretty pro Bailey. We're for fox hunting, and we're for Bailey Peacock Farrell doing his thing in the goal with those lovely gloves. So I think we possibly would have given him a B+ or something, or maybe an A-.
We did give an A-, yeah.
A-, yeah.
And I think that was interesting because going back to that and remembering at the time, there was some kind of birthing pains.
He had his Plymouth wobble, didn't he?
He had his Plymouth wobble, yeah. And, I think he had some quibbles about some of his boo-boos at that point. I think it was harsh at the beginning, but I saw a perspective that he did have his clanging moments. I think goalkeeping is such an interesting position in debacle because you want the strongest option to be in the sticks of all the ones that you have available to be there and to be there to make the difference, but you never want that to be fully tested.
That's a good point.
And I think the interesting thing, I think he's been tested a bit more than we wanted, and that's not to discredit him as goalkeeping prowess, but that's more of a failing of a rotating and sometimes shonky back three combination.
Yes. Yeah.
Young Bailey has been a rather excellent goalkeeping loan. I'm a bit staggered he didn't get top goalkeeper in the division, considering I haven't had my socks blown off by the fapping over Bazzuno, nor did I see much special in Plymouth's keeper.
No.
A position we needed to get right, and I think we did that with flying colours. I'm sad to think he won't be back, and big shoes to fill for next season for the number 1 slot. He gets an A. He gets an A.
Wholeheartedly agree. He had a wobble, but it was a pretty small wobble. Let's be fair.
Yeah, I know.
Scale of things. I don't know. I do despair at times. I don't want to say that I don't make any claims to be any wonderful authority on things, but I don't know. I see people criticizing his kicking, but at the same time saying, "Oh, I'd prefer Dawson or I'd just as soon have Dawson or Wildsmith in," and it's like, have you seen their kicking? Have you seen it? There's we could not have played how we played this. We can't play if next season Cameron Dawson is our goalkeeper. We can't play how we played this season. We will give up goal after goal after goal, passing it around the back. He's very good with the ball at his feet. His distribution is very good. He is very good at disguising the power of his kicks out, so the opposition doesn't know if he's going to do a short pass, a medium length pass, or just hit it long. We've been spoiled by how good he is, really, and I think next season we'll be lucky to get anybody even kind of close to his prowess. And Lord have mercy, if it ends up being Dawson again, we might as well just give up now. We're in League One. If it's Cameron Dawson again, it's done. The goose is cooked before we even start. But I've enjoyed his time with us. 15 clean sheets with a kind of ever-changing. I mean, we talked about how many different variations we've had in that back five. Or pretty much every possible combination and some impossible combinations have played in front of Bailey Peacock Farrell this season, and throughout he's been remarkably consistent in what he's done. So an A, a well-earned A, and thank you so much for your efforts, young Bailey. You've really, you've certainly not tarnished that lovely family name of yours. I love the fact that he's
just making me think, Rich. I'd love to see a very kind of slightly changed, maybe English kind of update of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But it's called Bailey Gets an A. I don't know how I did it. I've had all these hijinks, but I somehow got an A.
Oh, lovely stuff. I also love the fact that we've consistently throughout the season done this very silly posh voice for him when he's from Darlington.
It is something, like, especially now, I think I had images of people listening to this being like, talking to people about the podcast and being like, I don't know why they do this weird posh thing with Bailey Peacock Farrell. It's become an in-joke and it's not really that funny. Like, I don't know, they seem to be really amused by themselves a lot, but I mean, that's... Sometimes I kind of agree that sometimes they're kind of humorous, but I don't... This just feels like they're both just humorously diddling themselves on the podcast.
Oh, speaking of humorously diddling oneself,
can I just say,
7, Olamide Shodipo, the diddle king.
On Bailey Gets an A, I really want to see the bit where, you know, when Ferris Bueller's Day Off, he's running back through the fields, and then it's a hilarious little bit where he runs past like some young lady sunbathing, comes out and goes, Ferris. So just the same scene, just Bailey comes out, Bailey.
I'm putting the cock in Peacock Farrell.
So was it best hippo and show?
Best hippo in show. Show hippo, show depot.
What's Mr. Shodipo's full name? Because it's Olamide, isn't he? So they call him Mide for short, right? That's his.
Yeah, let's have a look at this.
Preferred title. That.
It's going to be problematic.
Everybody bite your fist.
So Olamide.
Yeah,
we've got that one.
Yeah.
Oluwatimilehan, Babatunde, Olawaka, Shodipo.
Babatunde.
Babatunde's nice, isn't it?
It's beautiful. That's some quality.
You know, I used to love Pro Evo. Tijiani Babangida was always a...
Oof.
Yeah, Tijiani Babangida on one wing and Dennis Romadal on the other. Tear teams to shreds.
Romadal was good, yeah. I used to like the fictional player Aji Pakarani.
Nice.
He was a bit of cheap pace. You could get in, you're just dicking around waiting for that first transfer window to get like a pacey striker up top.
I was looking through. There's an article. I was actually looking at it today. There was an article of like the most like overblown, championship manager like signings. So like Freddie Adu and people like that. And they got to Cherno Samba. And there was an interview with Cherno Samba, and he was like, yeah, I think they pretty much got the stats right.
Very good. Very good.
So, I mean...
I used to like Chapman 93. I used to like Steve Hayward in the middle of the park from Derby County. Yeah, he was really good.
Shodipo actually born in Ireland, by the way?
He is, or are you asking if he is?
Born in County Kildare, Ireland.
Wow. Because I know it like comes up and you're like, oh, is that the Ivory Coast flag? And it's like, no, it's Ireland. I'm like, oh, that's strange. Okay. Shodipo got a D in the halftime reports. No improvement from there at all. I said I hoped he would get a better second half of the season, and he let me down massively. I gave him faith, and he was just all round terrible as a player. A busted flush as a player. Sad time for his future career. I've downgraded him to an E+. King of most disappointing signings.
Supposedly he is in negotiations about his contract at QPR. What for? What are they seeing?
I don't know.
He's 24 now. He'll be 25 by the time next season rolls around. This is not a young whippersnapper.
No.
With bags of potential. This is it.
He's got bags of something.
Yeah. Saddlebags full of it.
He is woeful.
Have you gone down from the D? Or where did you...
I gave him an E+.
Yeah.
I mean, he had one game. He had a game where he scored. One game he scored a goal, and there's another game he should have scored. He did score, but it was
offside.
Bizarrely ruled out. It was a wrong call. Very, very bad call.
Yeah, it was a bad call.
Yeah.
That's a. We talked about Ming the Merciless and his multiverse of madness or whatever it's called.
That's the one, yeah.
Shakespearean actors wave and point for 2 hours. That's another, yeah. That is his kind of like what might have been moment is if that goal had stood, maybe he would have gone on to been half decent for us. attained a C plus. Who knows?
Moved it up to a D.
Yeah. What's amazing again? He's another one like Brown. He got goals in this division last season.
He
played for Oxford. He got 10
14.
goals.
Did he get 40? He got 14.
He got 13 in the season, so he must have got 3 in the silly cup for them.
It's insane.
But he did not. He barely looked like a footballer in his time with us.
Yeah.
Really, really poor.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I go along with your rating, and cheerio, Alameda. Hopefully, we'll never see you again.
He went to Hillsborough and he got the big D, didn't he?
Another contentious figure. So interesting. Shadipo 7 starts in the league, 8 off the bench.
7 was a squad number, wasn't it?
7 starts. 7 was his squad number.
I'll take squad number 7, please, Darren, because that's how many times you'll see me start this season.
A similar number of appearances, but a better goal return was number 40, Silasau.
Silasau,
the Dutch wing maestro, bringing back memories of Reggie Blinker.
What do you think we gave him at the midterm report, Rich?
D.
We gave him a C.
Okay.
So Silasau, just another latter string Wednesday forward who came and went. Actually, no. Yeah. Hilariously, I think he's still here next season.
Really?
I think maybe he is. I think he signed. I saw someone saying he signed for 2 years.
I thought he was alone.
Rich is incredulous at this. I think it's actually a proper signing.
Oh my goodness, what?
Canberra was a loan signing, right? So
yeah.
But there's a weird mix of this. There's a weird mix of players. You're like, is that a loan? It's like, no, he's actually ours. Like George Byers. A lot of people thought Byers was a loan, but Byers was a signing. Thankfully.
Oh yeah, we just signed him. We've just signed him. Permanent contract subject to international clearance.
Rich's reaction was very Woody Allen like then. We just signed him.
We just signed him. I'm in love with you. Interesting. There's another year of Silasau.
Well, it was really interesting, especially when we talked about him at the midway mark, because there was like a lot of rumors that he was going to be off, and I think he was upset with not getting enough game time here, and it's just a strange one. Like he's overall just a bit strange, really.
I think probably part of our positivity was he was someone who did well in the pizza trophy. He played 4 times and got 2 goals in the Silly Cup.
He didn't just get one slice of the action.
No, he had multiple slices of the action. He was really wanting to get that free kit that
Jimmy Bullard
advertises in the most disgustingly annoying way possible. I mean, that's one thing we can not hopefully wave goodbye to this season, is that annoying advert of him pulling his shorts up too high and doing some sort of gesture. Oh, just consistently made me want to vomit in my mouth. Every half time.
They're gonna perfect on it next year by Jimmy Bullard pulling his shorts way up to there, and then just in a baby voice going, "I'm playing with my little nipples." Just losing.
I put my shorts up and it feels my winky.
Buy your pizza, please.
Oh, buy a pizza from my wiggle baby weenie. Jimmy Bullard.
The Bulldog, everybody.
The Bulldog.
Oh, so Silasau. Yeah.
Silasau. That's what we were talking
Pizza
about.
Cup success.
2 league goals as well, by the way. Two Silly Cup goals, 2 league goals.
2 league goals. Who did he score in the league goals against?
Oh, now you're
Oh,
asking.
now you're asking.
Now you're asking, aren't you? You'd have to ask, wouldn't you? Vamp, do something, Luke. I'm looking it up. He scored in the 4-2 win against Plymouth, which I believe is the game. That's the good game that him and Canberra had. It wasn't a silly cup game. That Canberra and him were partners when we beat Plymouth at home 4-2.
Like some delicious 80s buddy
or
cop
maybe it
duo.
was Gregory and so, because I've just looked that up. So
well, that was good. Yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense. I mean, that was the thing with So. Is like I wondered if like he's got a bit of pace about him, hasn't he? I believe from when I can remember seeing watching him play.
He also scored in the 2-0 win away at Burton.
Nice.
Scored in the 81st minute to kind of make sure for us.
Yeah, he was a sub appearance, I think, wasn't it? I think on that one. You know, but again, like it's just like the world of Canberra. I'm not gutted he's around next year.
No,
but we're going to need someone to kind of fill out those ranks of like the latter string of Wednesday forwards. And I mean, they're usually like a bit of a gamble, and they're usually kind of like they were kind of okay. I'm like, oh no, like it'd
be interesting. What will be interesting this, and we don't want to step on the toes of we will do an episode where we look forward to next season. But what will be interesting is how much was our recruitment in the summer affected by the embargo? Because by all accounts, we basically just couldn't spend anything. So we couldn't do loan fees. We couldn't pay fees for players. So we were left with free transfers. And I don't know whether we were even allowed to pay like signing on fees. I think we might not have been allowed to do that either. So you're looking at players that would come for a certain wage, loan players that we could get for no cost at all, or just their wages. So that's quite a reduced pool to fish in.
Yeah.
But Shadipo and So are both victims of the fact that we signed loads of wingers and then never played wingers. We signed loads of wingers and then played wing backs. And luckily, one of those wingers was really good at being a wing back in Johnson. But it meant there wasn't really a place for some of these players that we signed.
Yeah.
Orbino being one of them, it wasn't a natural thing for him to be a wing back. And Shadipo looked terrible when he's been asked to play wing back. The few times it happened. So it's tricky for So. He ended up being another person that we just stuck up front, and he does seem to have a bit of an eye for goal. To be fair to him.
Mm-hmm. I ended up with he's still got a C, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Could maybe be a C+. I don't know. Yeah.
He's maybe a little bit unlucky to have played as little as he did, I think. Because again, we talked about some players get endless opportunities, some players get one or two and then seem to get put at the back of the cupboard and forgotten about for months and months on end. And he seemed to be unluckily one of the back of the cupboard boys rather than a regular rotation toy. Shall we move on to Jordan Story?
Jordan Story.
Number 38.
Chris Isaac's classic burning song of yearning is Wicked Game, where he passionately frolics semi-nakedly with Danish bombshell Helena Christensen in artful black and white visuals. He sings in the second line that strange what desire will make foolish people do, and somehow unrequited love is similar to Darren Moore's unrequited need for a steady centre-back and rock up on some failed and fatal affair with a strapping lad found in the bins outside Preston North End. The story has had moments, but none that fully convinces that we have found some great saviour for our needs. Harsh that he's looked solidish at times and has been a goal threat, even garnering a rare and late Luke Mawam call. But his final disappointment speaks volumes in his crowning of a poo against Sunderland, marking him out to be not just quite good enough in the areas we need. Michael Stipe has sang that a simple prop has occupied my time, and I cannot legitimately think of him as anything else. At least Kim Cattrall was a bangable mannequin. See.
Oh, another, Jordan Story from Preston, vicinity of Merseyside. Kim Cattrall, a Scouser herself. So
there we go. It's all comes full.
They're all linked. They all tie in.
Yeah.
I feel like I've said a lot about Jordan Story, but yeah, I go along with your rating. I think there's positions where you can flatter to deceive. I think wingers are allowed to flatter to deceive. Strikers who score goals are allowed to flatter to deceive. They're allowed to pretend they're doing work that they're not doing because there's less comeuppance to them getting found out. You can't do that at centre back. And Jordan Stories has been he's the calm duck above water, but he's not bothering to do the leg stuff underneath. He's the duck skipping leg day. And so just more often than not, looks like he's sort of aimlessly floating when push comes to shove. Yeah, I hope we don't see him again. I do believe he's not wanted at Preston. Ryan Lowe is looking to get rid of quite a lot of players, I believe, at Preston, and he might be one of the ones that's on the chopping board. But without him, we've seen players improve. So maybe there's something. Darren Moore's played him a lot. They picked him out. Maybe they see something in him that I can't see in terms of that potential because I'm just watching what I see on the pitch week to week. If they think with a good pre-season and bulking up a bit that there's a player there, maybe there is, because we've been surprised by players this season before. So I can leave that as a realm of possibility. But as it stands, no thank you. We just need some blood and thunder League One defenders. We don't need another kind of big time Charlie.
My little show pony, as you said.
My little show pony, exactly. So we this brings us to Liam Waldock, who started one game in the Silly Cup in the Pizza Trophy, and is now no longer part of the under-23s. He has been told he has his marching papers. Anything to say on number 27, Liam Waldock?
See it at half-time, see it full-time.
Yeah,
okay.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, he looked like a person with a body, didn't he?
He did. I remember that. I think that's what I said to you. I think I sent you a text and said, "Have you seen that Waldock? He's
not just a flowing head." He said. Unlike most of these schlubs, he's got a body under his head.
Under his floating head.
There's a bit of a funny end to things here. So we go on to number 28. Played 4 games in the Silly Cup, 1 game in the FA Cup, and 3 league matches when young Bailey was away doing his duty for the boys from Northern Ireland. Joe Wildsmith, top 40 Joe.
The halfway report mark was an F, and I think he's retained that. He's poor and he's dire. We need rid of him. I also nearly got frustrated for a second because I was reading an article that Dom Howson was writing, and he actually said it's unlikely that Joe Wildsmith will be extending his time at Sheffield Wednesday. But I misread that as it's likely that Joe Wildsmith will be extending his time, and I think. And
being a typical Twitter user, Luke, you'd angrily threatened Dom Howson and all of his lineage with, death and whatever else before you realised your mistake.
Not on this occasion, no.
Oh, okay.
I did hear about Alex Miller had a drunken person, tell him that him and the rest of the people at the Star were all shit or something along those lines.
Oh dear.
I feel like now I don't like it when people call each other melts. I think that's not
very good.
It's a bad insult.
It's a Cockney Sparrow sort of thing as well, isn't it? It feels very oh no, I've forgotten his name. Guy Ritchie. Feels very Guy Ritchie to call someone a melt.
Oh, I don't like it. It's crap. I don't think Alex Miller did that, but it was, I don't know. Maybe I kind of associate with someone else calling someone a melt anyway.
There's a whole genre of things just to kind of have a a silly divergence here. There's a whole genre of things I just hate because maybe because I'm old now. I hate limbs. Oh, look at that! It's absolute limbs. I hate that.
Yeah, that's crap. That's crap.
Melt is annoying. I don't understand why people love that Barry Horn guy, the boxing guy. Grow up.
Oh, he's like it's like if Danny Dyer was a boxing promoter type thing.
Yeah, I don't understand any of that.
How do you feel about Danny Dyer?
Yeah, no, thank you. Laughable white boy, pretend white boy. Anyway, there we go. That's my little rant for a thing. But there's just a whole feels. Oh, did you have the feels? No, grow up.
I've seen people recently use the term about getting filled in. Which is kind of problematic.
Do you know that's quite old? That filled in.
Really?
Well, it's in the wonderful Shipbuilding by Elvis Costello.
Don't know it. Sorry, man.
What? That's what the next episode is me just playing Shipbuilding again and again and again to you. He did two songs that were very much jibes at Maggie Thatcher, and one of them was very on the nose, which is called Tramp the Dirt Down, which is basically about tramping the dirt down on her grave, living long enough till she dies, and then tramping the dirt down on her grave, which is very on the nose. Nice. But Shipbuilding is more about her celebrating the Falklands War and kind of riding that to a election victory whilst people were dying. But yeah, I don't know what do they call it? The etymology. There's something of it, where that comes from. But the way it's used to be kind of knocked out is.
Can I tell you if I think if there's one phrase which isn't just a small British English phrase used colloquially, it's probably more North American, but I really want to change this because I think it's bad. Laying pipe.
Yes.
So, like, this is supposed to be apparently having, P in the V sex.
Right.
It sounds like more like taking a poo.
Yes, it does.
It sounds too much like taking a poo. Like it's.
Well, it's because is laying cable poo.
I guess so.
The same thing. I've just noticed that apparently on Urban Dictionary, filled in is in that genre as well, which I've not heard it in. Is that what you were meaning?
Well, that's why when I first heard it, that's what I because it's like.
See, I've heard filled in as getting knocked out, like, oh, somebody got filled in on a night out, like as in they got punched, they got knocked out.
Which is what I think the context it was used. It was actually hilariously used recently. That came to my. It was Barry Bannon. Like, right. He was getting taunted by a Birmingham fan on Twitter.
Right. Oh, they hate him so much.
Yeah, so it was like someone made I don't know who made it. On the Wednesday fans, it was like Barry Bannon like cheering, and he's got a fist out. So they put like a guitar and like a little like he's playing guitar and singing.
Yeah.
So then a Birmingham fan was like, "This is really funny because we hate Barry Bannon." And then he says, "Aren't you getting filled in by your own fans?"
Oh, right.
So there was a bit of Twitter bants. I found it very like I know I support Wednesday and there's a general mentality, and I think we even subscribe and even play up to a degree of being thought of in very arrogant terms. I've been rather kind of astonished at the level of Wednesday hating on the socials.
Well, I mean, you spend a decade and change calling yourself massive and playing up to the point where some fans don't seem to know that it's a tongue-in-cheek thing, and people start to take your words.
Fair enough.
Oh dear. Where were we? This was Wildsmith. Yes, an F. Yes, go forth with your F, Joe, and multiply. He'll probably have an okay. He'll probably play in League Two and National League and be fine. I imagine he's played quite a lot of league football for us. Way too.
He really has. He really has.
That That's the same thing with Dawson. That people sort of talking about him coming back and being a changed man. It's like, but we've seen what it's like. We had hundreds of games of these two. They've both racked up masses of appearances for us. We know what they're like. We're not going to be surprised by them now, I wouldn't have thought. I'm just looking up the appearance record for Cameron Dawson now, just to be, official about these things. So Cameron Dawson has played 65 games for Wednesday, including 2 seasons where he played 26 games and 24 games for us. So played a lot of football. Joe Wildsmith, similar number, 67 games. He played 26 games one season. He played 19 games another season. Yeah, just we've tried it. We've done it. We've given them their shot. Someone we didn't really see enough of to feel that they were given their shot in this league was our number 11, Josh Windass, Trumpy Bomb.
Oh wow, I completely forgot. I have done a rating for Windass, but I completely forgot that we had him to come. I just more jumping ahead to the last person who will be on our list. But anyway.
Just staggering, by the way. 3 starts, 6 substitute appearances, 4 goals.
4 goals, that's insane. Half-time, I gave him a generous B+. From an impaired perspective and how he performed against a very difficult season for injuries for him. Still, his explosive cameos have made him there. We didn't get that same juice nor enough time to see him come back and establish himself, to be fair.
No.
Still gets a B+, and hopefully there's more to come next season.
Yeah. I mean, his dad certainly thinks he's too good for this league. I think maybe we've seen some evidence that if he gets some games, that may well be the case. But the games is the big thing. He's missed a big chunk of 2 seasons in a row now.
Yeah, and he can be too good for this league on paper. But we're not playing this game on paper.
I did notice. I mean, we saw enough. I think in that game against Sunderland that his swimwear mod bod is enough to put him in the category of never getting any fouls against him, or very rarely getting fouls. For him. He seemed to be merrily thrown around by the Sunderland back 3 to no whistles from the ref. So he'll have to get tough quick if he's going to hang around in League One for any amount of time. Just a very stark what might have been. We saw so little of him. Yeah. I do think one of the things we will talk about Mr. Moore later, but did he need to play that game in the silly cop where he got injured? Was that a sensible choice? I do not think so.
Yeah.
We could have played one of those youngsters. We could have played Hagen. We could have played Adedoyan. We didn't need to risk a guy just back from injury. And I don't understand why certain players don't get drip fed on their way back and other players get thrown in straight away. Well, I suppose I do understand. It's just sheer desperation. But the fact you're desperate to see them should give you more pause to blood them slowly back into things. But it doesn't seem to with Josh Windass, as evidenced by him starting that game when he clearly wasn't fit against Sunderland. Last man in the squad, number 26, Lewis Wing.
Lewis Wang. He got an E at the halfway report. And I'm going to say that's fair and deserved for neshing the challenge and jumping ship. And I'm actually going to downgrade him to a G. So.
Like nothing but a G thing. Just terrible. What a huge disappointment he was for us and Wickham. Bad player, bad attitude, bad ability, poor at shooting, poor at passing, poor at tackling. Really, yeah, should have been a home run signing, and was one of the worst ones we did. But at least he disappeared at the halfway point, and we let Byers shine, who's not only much better, but also our player. So there we go. That's the squad, Luke. That's the squad.
Yes, indeed.
Any passing comments before we move on to the big man?
Well, I guess there's something else. So I'm going to do the Mount Rushmore of getting a bit better at football this season.
Yes.
Luke's rebirth podium at
The
the
Mount
Olympics.
Rushmore of getting a bit better at football. Love it.
But I'm curious, just to kind of before we get onto that, we can have a little bit more fun. Who do you think is the most disappointing signing? Is it Lewis Wing or is it Mide Shodipo?
Ooh. With Mide Shodipo, we got to have the disappointment stretched out over the whole season. He was a gift that kept on failing to give. But Wing had the good grace to bugger off halfway through, having soiled the sheets and thoroughly made a mess of the place. So maybe that makes him a better signing out of the two. He didn't continue to cost us money whilst he sat on a treatment table and then was really disappointing. Yeah, I think Shodipo. I think I was more excited about Shodipo. Wing, I just kind of heard good things. I didn't really know what to expect. Shodipo, we thought we were getting this guy that was just going to bring goals and excitement to us. And what a woeful player he's been for us. Truly terrible. Do we have a star pupil then? Who's going to...
Oh, that's a good thing. This is a tough one. I think it's Bannon.
Yeah. The apple of the teacher's eye. Wee Baz. He gets to take home the African snails this summer. Gets to look after the class pet.
Good stuff. Congrats, Baz. And coming up to the podium, number 3 with the bronze medal is Saido Berahino.
Saido, lovely stuff.
Coming in second with a
the
silver.
national anthem that we're all familiar with is playing. Oh yeah. The dulcet tones. Who's taking up silver medal then, Luke?
Silver medal. It's not the Burundi national anthem. It's the song Salute by Little Mix. Because it must be. It's Georgie Byers.
Hey! Salute.
And that means the gold medal goes to Marvin Johnson.
Ah, marvellous Marvin.
We'll get him a song later. Whatever he wants, because he got the gold medal.
You got the gold, boy. What a turnaround from all three. It's been lovely to see. But Marvin Johnson, right up there in terms of best crosses I've seen in Wednesday shirt in quite some time. So the guy that got this band of brothers together, this merry crew, the band leader, as it were,
the big dog,
the big Dave.
No, not that one. The other one.
The squatting squad leader.
The squat room leader.
Darren Moore. How's he done? Did we give him a halftime score?
I don't know if we did. I think we just kept it just to the players. I'm going to be honest with you.
Fair enough. It was probably quite prescient of us to do that.
Oh, Darren Moore. So yeah, no halftime score. Darren Mark Moore is his full name.
Oh.
Mark is his middle name. I guess 3 things I can think about. There's probably more things to think about here. Let's put the chicken before the egg in this situation.
Okay.
Even though that's blowing my mind again. Chicken before the egg. Anyway, on this occasion.
Which presumably is as a Christian what he believes, right?
Yeah. I guess so.
God made the chicken, not the egg. That's the creationist vision of things.
if he is a Christian, he's a creationist.
I presume he is.
We'll just say
he seems like a young Earth creationist.
You just saying so many hateful things. These 3 episodes.
And this is not hateful. There's no judgment here. It's just as valid as evolution, which is a theory, Luke. Actually.
Okay, maybe
Scientists get things wrong all the time. Look at the vaccine.
Rich. Okay, let's talk about. Okay, I suggest we talk about 3 things. I want to talk about it in separate areas. And
okay.
If I'm going to give you 3 things, and if you want to give me anything more, we can talk about.
Okay.
Let's do that. So first of all, I think we're going to talk about recruitment. Then we can talk about lineups, and then we can talk about subs.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to add to this so we can go through this list?
No, I think that's good. I think that's good.
I think he needs a multifaceted approach to look at Darren Moore.
Okay.
So, recruitment. We don't know, we never know how much is going to ever be fully purist that he can do. He's clearly had some limitations on him.
Yeah.
There is still, unfortunately, a bit of a misgiving from that defensive pitcher, considering he wanted to run with an idea of a team.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, also, there are some sins of that past recruitment because, hey, we've still got a lot of professional football players who are varying shades of injury prone and varying shades of unfit.
Yeah.
So that does kind of make the picture up. Saying that, like, it's been really impressive what he's built.
Yeah.
The connections he has in the game, the players he's brought in, even the ones that didn't work, the Shadipo, the Lewis Wang, really good signings. Should have been good signings. So things can sometimes not work out. I don't think he's not to blame at all for that. No. Very good signings. That connection with Wolves brought in Corbeau. The hilarity that seemingly he went for more game time at MK Dons, and that was funny when he didn't get enough game time at MK Dons. That was really funny. That was very, very funny. It was hilarious, in fact. And that kind of connection, that kind of bond with young players, and the fact that people are coming in. You have mentioned that kind of Christian angle, which seems to get a bit of a publicity and bringing some players into the club. It's really impressive, the players we brought in. And I feel like a good chunk of that has to be deserved and given to Darren Moore.
Yeah.
So I think that has been great. Moving on from there, let's look at the lineups. Lineups have sometimes been a bit patchy. I think probably the truth is somewhere in between what we as fans feel and Darren Moore's protestations. I don't feel like it's at either of the polarities in there, but it definitely exists somewhere in the muddy middle spectrum between those 2 points. Like, he has... I think it's been a bit frustrating, some of the tinkering at times.
Yeah.
I think he has sometimes had his hands tied in some regards, but I would much rather see and try the best 11 until the best 11 fails.
And our best periods of form have borne that out, haven't they? Like, our best periods of form have been a regular, steady team by and large, outside of maybe one or two shifts at most per game.
In defense of Darren Moore, I do want to say, like, from a perspective, I would expect our second string to do better in this, a little bit better in this league. So I think he's been a little bit let down by that. I do want to give him a bit of defense there. Again, we're going back to linking to the whole thing recruitment regarding lineup as well. In a weird way, we probably got like some of our most settled back three when we kind of went with, what was it, like Hutchinson, Palmer and Johnson.
Yeah.
Which was kind of maddening and kind of didn't work at times, but I don't know if it hasn't worked as much as some of the other occasions. And we certainly got some attacking juice from that.
Yeah.
It felt kind of madness for a while to not have those established wing-back options until we've managed to be blessed with Hunt and Johnson, and maybe a lesser note to Mendes-Lang and Palmer for kind of deputizing in those roles as well.
Yeah.
So that's been good. I'm glad he's kind of settled on. I guess also that 3-5-2 allows us that the middle of the pitch to have the midfield trio.
Yep.
Which, we've definitely had places for prior to this. Some of the shining nature of FDB's stint, Adeniran having a really good stint as well.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning, and then ending up with this emergence from nowhere of George Byers and Bannon and Luongo has just been fantastic. So there's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah.
Maybe further questions about like it's been a weird workout with the striking too, but again, injuries and stuff. So I don't know how much we can focus on that. So that's largely pretty good. Subs haven't been very good by and large under Darren.
Yeah. I think of the kind of trope criticisms of Moore, that lack of a plan B, an inability to think on the hoof is probably the truest of the lot of them. I think. I think there's certain accusations that just don't ring true or are a bit overblown. But I think probably the one that kind of gets to the heart of the matter most consistently is that one. I think that's fair.
I think maybe outside of this, and maybe kind of looking at more of a kind of fuzzy category to kind of judge Darren Moore by, is that I think he has, in a season where we thought that we might do well enough to turn all these things around and all the things that are against us from our kind of backing, the relegation, the financial implications put upon us, a big turnaround, a big rehaul of a squad. I think he's done pretty damn well with that kind of rebuild. Yeah. I know that kind of links to recruitment, but I think there is some promise to kind of be shown and kind of put forward from there. And for a season where we thought like it's like, hey, if we do okay, we could probably get playoffs, and we achieved that. We achieved that pretty handily in a ridiculously tough season.
Yes,
like. Granted, I think there's been a lot of situations we've played teams where like these are a bunch of cloggers and we should beat these lower tier chavas.
Yes.
But to come in and just be like, wow, like what, like Plymouth missed out with like 80 points? Was that ridiculous? Yeah. Is that what it came up to in the end in terms of the league? Just incredible that we've managed to do that. And then
I think the other thing is as well, so this could be a factor, but we're actually quite enjoyable to watch play. Like it's not been, I think so often we've been like, okay, well, we'll put up with mind-numbing football for a little bit of stability previously and then maybe success previous to that. But this has been exciting front foot football by and large. It's been a joy to go to Hillsborough.
I believe you actually meant Goldsborough, Rich.
Goldsborough, sorry, yes.
So a lot to be said about that second half kind of explosion of attacking style and coming into fruition and making, Fortress Goldsborough, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a joy to
Goldsborough. No, sorry. Go
But it's been rare to have a season where it's been so beautiful to watch at home, and we've had that goal outlay of 78 goals. Is really, really fantastic. Yeah. So a lot of kudos goes to there. I think there's some mix. There's some blind spots. There's some dark spots to Darren Moore's kind of animal, I should say.
Okay, yes.
That he's built. I think overall I'm going for a B+.
Fair. I think fair. I think I was. I was in the exact same mind. In terms of B+. I think a qualified success is what this season has been. And qualified in both ways. There's things that add to the achievement because it's not been easy on several fronts, but also it's hard to shake the knowledge, the feeling that one or two results going better than they did, one or two decisions maybe being made quicker or something like that might have seen us do even better. But no, I think he's done a great job in the circumstances. It's been lovely to be confident turning up to Hillsborough expecting results. That's not something we've had the benefit of being able to do very often as Wednesday fans. If we were going to be good at one or the other, away or home, I'd certainly prefer being good at home. We had under Stuart Gray the opposite of that. That was a bit difficult to take as a fan, that you were in the midst of a successful season, but going to watch your team play every other week was miserable. This has been the away form has not been bad by any stretch. I think we've always been top sort of 10 at the very least in terms of our away form, but at home we've been sensational and full of goals. So yeah, well done, Darren Moore. I'm intrigued to see what this summer brings. We're going to dedicate a whole episode to speculating about that future, what might be, what could be. But I think somebody sort of worked out on House Talk. There's a team already. There's 11 players that actually can play in a formation already. So it's just a case of how many bits of that can we improve on what does our first team look like next season is still very much up in the air. But we've got the bare bones of something which is we've not always been able to say come the end of a season. There's been a lot of upheaval, a lot of rejigs and resets as a Wednesday fan, but this will be considerable. I think we do need lots of players again, but we're building on a base of something, which is nice, and hopefully building towards a style of football, a formation that works, rather than kind of finding that out in the moment from trying to pick that out of the miasma of players that we just sort of grabbed. That the summer kind of felt scattergun at times in that way. So yeah, well done, Darren Moore. Thank you for a good season, and onwards and upwards in terms of what's to come next.
Indeed.
Should we wrap this thing up, Luke? Should we say cheerio? We
should. It's been a big stint. It's been a big long time, but it's been a lot of fun to look back at this. Fundamentally a little bit disappointing season, but in other ways very successful and very fun season to watch. Let's be honest.
I don't know if I said this at the last episode, but well, one, I hate the playoffs. I hate the playoffs. Hate the playoffs. Hate the playoffs. I don't just hate them because of our experiences of them. I think I hate the idea of them. I think inherently they're a bad, greedy idea from a bad, greedy game. No, it's a good game. It's a good game, but run by bad, greedy people. Football's a good game inherently. The people who run it are bad and greedy. And the playoffs are a kind of symptom of that. Let's squeeze a last little bit of money out of this and do it at the expense of competition in a weird way. Because if we just finished the season fourth and the top three gone up, you'd go, that was a really good season we had. We'll go one better next year. But because we had the playoffs, it's like, oh no, you're losers. You're losers. You've lost the thing. You didn't even get to the real game of the playoffs. And we shouldn't feel as bad as we do off the back of it. This should be a good season. We were one space away from the really important space in terms of going up. And MK Dons and ourselves can rightly feel a bit ticked off at this whole playoff thing.
And potentially one of Sunderland or Wickham.
Yeah.
Which will be
but either way, they
comes
win
out.
because they didn't do well enough in the season, and they're going to one of them's going to get promoted. One of them's going to get the payday of a final, but neither of them did well enough to get that in the league proper. They had 46 games to do what they needed to do. They just didn't do it.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes a bit of lottery and excitement of being within that area. To be fair,
I appreciate that, but it's also like here's a whole competition, and then here's the extra bit. So hate the playoffs. I think if we had just finished the season fourth and not had the playoff shindig, I think we'd look on it with much more positively than we have. And it shouldn't make a difference that we didn't win that game and didn't do we were so close to beating Sunderland over two legs. It was such a close game. If MK Dons had got through, that's a team we've beaten home and away previously. Wickham would have been more of a challenge, but it puts a pall on things that doesn't feel fair. Fourth is really good, and let's try and remember that fourth is really good.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my message. If I can leave you with one thing, it's that fourth out of 24 teams is really rather good. Thank you very much. Well done, Darren Moore. Thank you to the good players. Cheerio to the rubbish players. And cheerio for this week to you, Luke, and the folks listening at home.
Thanks, Rich. Have a good everyone.